Hey everybody, HMV here, playing more Kerbal Space Program, and I hope I've solved most of my audio problems with the new setup. I hope it sounds great. We are sending up a base to Minmus. This is the first of 3 launches. Not much to say about it while it's sitting on the launch pad, except for I noticed that the flag over here says Kerbal Space Program when I thought it should have my flag on it, and I'm not 100% sure why. My flag is obviously installed because it says HMV on the ships. But the flag over here says Kerbal Space Program. It's a little bit annoying, but oh well, what are you going to do? Let's go ahead and turn on the HUD here. The computer's on, and in 3, 2, 1, launch. And the astute among you will notice that after that very short cut, Yarmouth is no longer in the command chair, and Agent is instead. There's a reason for that, and the reason is I wanted Agent in there, but Yarmouth kept interposing himself into the ship very annoyingly. You'll also notice that this ship is very non-aerodynamic. It was too hard to fit a fairing around all this junk, and I figured I'll just add a little bit of extra delta V and suck it down, and also take a slightly steeper ascent trajectory here. And come on, this is the dangerous part. Why am I? And crap. And I hit the space bar. Don't worry, Yarmouth. I can probably save your life. I wish that there was a decoupler here now. Let's see. What is this decoupler? This decoupler doesn't exist, so I can just hit the space bar. Get these engines going. And actually, I think this will be, let's turn the computer off so that we have a little stuff. This is aerodynamically stable down, which is good. Yeah, okay, Agent, you will be launching again. The reason I'm launching Agent up with this thing is because he has the highest number of stars as an engineer. Actually, he has the highest number of stars of anyone except for Regex. We're traveling at 200. We're actually accelerating. I think you might be in trouble there, Agent. Because these engines' ISP is getting worse as they burn. But if all else fails, we're going to EVA you and jump you out. And I think all else is going to fail. Because we're going to crash in about 10 seconds here, and we're heading 150 meters per second. If I kill you, I'm going to feel really bad, because you're the only one who can do the base. But nope, you died. Well, I just killed my first Kerbal because I was talking while I was flying. Oops. Sorry about that. Now, I believe I actually have respawning on. Yeah, so you're missing. But I believe you've lost all your stats, which is perfectly fine. That way I don't have to re-add you. And now, actually, amusingly, Yarmouth is the one who should probably go up. Yarmouth or Starvin Marvin. Yarmouth's already done 2 things, so Starvin, you get to go up, and actually Yarmouth, I think, no, he's an engineer. So Starvin, you get to go up in the second version of this ship that I'll pay more attention to as we as we go up. This worked fine in testing, but I did forget that not the orbital station, the surface base. I did forget that it was hard to fly. Okay, let's try this again now. Okay, this is looking a lot better as far as my ascent is concerned. I'm a lot steeper than I was before. And I'm just going to keep this until we pass the dangerous Mach level here. Once we get above 400, I think it's going to work a lot better. 400 meters per second, that is. Just keeping it right in the center of the thing here. Okay, we've crossed Mach 1. We're now through the danger zone. Okay, now I'm burning sideways here, even though we're not at 50 yet, because as soon as my engines run out, I have to go straight here because they're going to destroy the center stack. Actually, I'm going to cut the engines. I'm going to hit the space bar. I'm going to bump a little bit, just a little. Come on. There we go. Now I'm going to get this guy going straight again. It's just those things, because they don't separate very well, they potentially have some issues. I'm actually surprised I was able to get out of it like that, but okay. But now we're burning sideways to orbit. And this surface base here, it's pretty simple. It's just got a bunch of fuel storage. It's got an ore storage down here you can't really see. It's got the converter. It's got 3 greenhouses, which is more than enough to support 1 person. And then it's got these here to land it, and then once we've landed it, they can disconnect and fly off and explode. It has room for 1 engineer, which is now Starvin' Marvin, who might actually make his 4th star just by landing on Minmus, especially if he can swing it by Moon first. And this is going up by itself, and then the other 2 ships are actually docking together to go up. You've seen me get ships into orbit. This is the boring part, so I will come back when we're launching the next ship. And that next ship is this guy, who looks crazy, very tall, and you'll see why when he gets into orbit. But this is the Orbital Station and an addition. It's a little slow off the pad, that's why I added the solids. The solids actually help a lot, getting this guy going. And there they go, having done their job. Getting us basically up to Mach. And as soon as we get past Mach here, we're fairly aerodynamic actually, because these engines stick out a little bit, and I think that they provide a little bit of the same support that a fin would, oddly enough. But in my testing, this fin had to, or the fairing had to stay on basically to space, because this thing is so crazy in its aerodynamic properties. But this rocket actually gets this thing into orbit and then comes home. It doesn't have parachutes on it or anything, because I've got so much money it doesn't matter anymore. I'm not even doing contracts anymore. The whole point of this series is we don't do anything unless we get paid, and this Minmus station doesn't count as far as that's concerned, because this Minmus station is going to save us money in the long run. But it's kind of funny that I'm not even bothering with the got to get paid aspect of it anymore. We're just going to get this guy up into a nice 80 by 80-ish orbit. Oh, we can ditch the fairings too. That'll give us a little more delta V. There's the craziness that is this rocket. And I'll show you what this is. It looks like some sort of crazy satellite dish, but it's not. 83 by 80. Perfect. Okay, now we are going to ditch this guy. We're actually going to start rotating here. Although it doesn't, well, it does matter enough. We're actually already rotating. Let's go ahead and decouple. Now this thing is got a brain on it, but it has no power and no way to maneuver itself around. This guy, though, if we go into physics warp, he will still be rotating here. And eventually we won't be facing the station anymore. The problem is we don't have, there we go, turn SAS off to at least give us a little bit. I'm a little worried about the electric charge here, because we are still aimed directly at the station. And if we hit the gas at all, we are going to destroy the station. But I don't think we have a choice. I think maybe at all is possibly a wrong thing. If we thrust limit these guys down to... Actually, wait. Thrust limit this guy down to 8 and these guys down to 0. Then only this engine will fire. And if we also... Let's actually go into locked mode so we know which way we're looking here. If we also go... Which one is not thrust limited? Actually, this is the one that shouldn't be thrust limited. And then if we also go to the right... Okay, I think we're actually good now. We're not gonna hit them. So let's thrust limit everybody up to 45. And then we're gonna go up and down like this. All we care about is that we don't hit the station as we're turning around. That's the only thing that actually matters. And then we gotta get going retrograde here. Again, without hitting the station. Just make sure we're not ever aimed at the station as we're doing this. And then we're going to burn this guy retrograde until he's out of fuel. Bye-bye, station. Thank you for letting us miss you. was a lot harder than I expected it to be. I thought this guy was going to just naturally not go in the way of the station. And no deorbiting would be complete without the requisite watching your thing crash into the ground. This thing is basically a huge dart. It's not going to slow down too much in the air. One thing I did is I put the fairing one down to give myself more room to come out. That's why that thing looked taller than it actually was. And it also made it sleeker. And I think that helped with the aerodynamics and the drag reduction, although it did add mass. The fairing looked better, so I figured I'd go with it. And unceremoniously destroyed everything. Oh, not everything. The probe core survived. Let's go ahead and recover that. Another pretty simple craft compared to the first one. It's kind of funny that the ones with no people in them are the ones that are simply made and very easy to fly. But let's go ahead and just launch this thing. It's basically the same as the other one, so I'm not even going to show you anything until we're in orbit. No sense making you watch it. Okay, this guy's almost in space here, so as soon as we get above 60 here, I'm going to ditch the fairings and show you what this guy looks like here. Boom, there they are. And this guy's pretty simple. The one thing he has up here is he has a docking port that's going to eventually be on the bottom. This is semi-Apollo-ish style mission, I suppose you could say. These engines on the bottom here, we're gonna use them as much as we can. We're gonna get this guy up to about a 60-kilometer periapsis, and then we're going to ditch them because there's really no need for them. We're also gonna bring out the solar panels. Might as well recharge our batteries as we're using them. Although we got plenty of battery power to turn even this kind of a ship with all this huge mass on the back. But this is our lander, and it's also our transfer stage for the space station. Okay, this guy, though, doesn't have a brain on him, though, so I cannot get his periapsis above 70, or else he won't be able to re-enter the atmosphere. And I don't want his apoapsis too much above 80 because he has to rendezvous with the space station. Okay, 57 is perfect, so we are now going to ditch this guy. And then we are going to activate the engines on this guy. And then we're going to get him up to 80 by 80-ish. Actually, we're going to get 80 by 70. Simply because he has to catch up with the space station, which should be in front of him. Okay, now this guy, we're going to follow him down, as we always do. Oh, here comes the sunrise. I don't know why I enjoy watching orbital debris reentry so much, but for some reason I do. I'll never understand where that yellow or this little highlight here comes from. It's like the sun reflecting off the ocean before it rises, which is kind of crazy. See, it looks right now. It actually should probably go all the way across here. But what are you going to do? I wonder if it'll hit land or not. Oh, it looks like it's just going to miss the land, which is probably good. I would imagine a lot of people live along this shore here. But Agent up here in the Minmus surface base, his maneuver node has come and gone while we were in the atmosphere, which is bad. So I'm just going to delete the maneuver node, and we're going to thrust you up until your periapsis is above 70 here. We're just going to do it like this. It's not efficient, but it will raise our apoapsis as well, so hey, why not? Boom, there's your meeting up with Minmus. I don't really care about it other than that. It's in 8 minutes and 42 seconds. I really don't think there's not much, really don't think there is much else we can do with this ship. The solar panels here are all crazy, but this is a surface base. I'm actually going to close these, because if I forget to close them, we're in trouble. And probably these two. Yeah, this is the one that doesn't have anything it can do. Now, let me show you this. Notice that this arm here is looking crazy. This arm is actually destined to land on Minmus. This docking port here is going to connect to the ground base that we just left on the side. And it's got feet here so that somebody can come and land on this thing without getting too close to the base and risking actually damaging it. We can always launch another one of these up if I screw this part up. So that's the idea behind that. But this guy can't actually do anything. So let's go to the other guy. And then this guy, what he's going to do is, are we in the sun? We are dead in the sun. So we might as well get this done now. We'll do this the old-fashioned way. And the old-fashioned way is to line this thing up north and south. And then we are going to ditch this thing. We're going to decouple the node here. Then we are going to control from here. We're going to set, this is our target. We're going to turn on the RCS. We're going to go to the side here. We should go into locked mode so we can see what we're doing. We're going to go to the side here. And we're also going to go backwards. This thing's already turning a little bit, it looks like. Yeah. Oh, I just realized something. We didn't actually want to do this. Oh, well, too late now. Ideally, we will just bounce and bounce and bounce. Let's turn off RCS. There we go. Now this thing is attached, but we're actually going to have to detach it because we need to put the orbital station between these two things, and then put the lander extension on the other side of the orbital station. I'm just like a moron. I didn't think ahead. So, oh well. What are you going to do? But yeah, all the monoprop is in this. Yeah, we've only used 8. We've used 10% of our monoprop, so we're fine with that. Okay, but now that this guy's set up, we need to set the orbital station as a target, and we need to actually meet up with this guy, ideally sometime around here. And I gotta remember that this burn takes like 30 seconds to perform when we're slowing down at the station. That will pretty much nail us 1.7 kilometers. And I don't even really feel the need to do this. But you know what? We might as well. The surface base is the next thing to happen, which is actually the ship. So let's go ahead and jump to him and take care of him. You have 30 supplies, 30 days worth of supplies, and you're making mulch, which means that you actually have more time than you think you do, which is cool because you might need all that time. But as soon as we get this thing landed on the surface, we can start converting ore into mulch because I have a module manager config that does that. That's why everything's robotic except for him. And yeah, this guy's crazy controllable up and down, and kind of controllable left and right. But up and down is just staggeringly powerful as far as control is concerned. Which might make landing interesting. And his thrust to weight is garbage. But he's landing on Minmus, so what are you going to do? Also, you'll notice that it says we have 102 meters per second, and that's not going down. That's because these guys are good speed fuel pumped up to pump into these two little tanks here. So we've got plenty of fuel. We have far more fuel than we'll ever need. He should probably land with half full tanks, I would guess. Okay, with about a minute left on our burn here, I'm watching this moon encounter that we're not going to utilize, simply because I don't feel like it. But I let this burn go in real time because I was afraid to run it. I run it too much. So this guy has been burning for 7 minutes. I went and made coffee. It was a good time. But the maneuver node really doesn't matter anymore, so I'm going to just delete it. Really, all we're paying attention to is our eventual Minmus encounter here. And I've got my finger on X. This was very inefficient, but you know what? I don't care. Here comes this, and boom, Minmus encounter. Now, if we focus view on Minmus, we're going to want to come down. We're going to want to land this guy. We have already decided where we're going to land. We're going to land in this area. If you look here at the ore, this is where we landed before. And I thought it was terrible, but that's because I didn't understand the drilling mechanics here. If we turn this off, you notice like this entire sea here is perfect. So we're just going to land somewhere in that. That's all we care about. We should also turn on these greenhouses here. Again, amusingly, Starvin' Marvin is the only Kerbal who's in space who's guaranteed to never run out of food. Sorry, Agent. I actually feel bad for killing you, but like I said, you will be back. You will do more things. It's just you've lost all your experience. And again, I only do that because it saves me the trouble of hiring somebody without the name, doing it for free anyway, because it's stupid to require me to pay $1 million to hire somebody, and then doing that. So you'll come back. You'll be a new recruit again. Okay. I think I did a really good job of matching these guys up here. Came in within 30 meters of each other. Just slowing down to 0 here, because this is going to be a little bit of a rigmarole. Because what we need to do is, I think we need to just do this in steps here. We need to, first of all, we need to disconnect these guys from each other. And then I'm going to right-click this guy, and then we're going to switch back to the ship so we can set him as a target. And then we can control from here. And now we need to... Although, actually, you know what? I just realized something. This guy has monoprop in him. And what we could do here is use him, because he's a lot more nimble as well. So let's control from here. Let's set this as our target. And it's important to do it with very little monoprop, which is why I'm doing it at 0.1 meters per second here. Oh, go ahead and turn the monoprop off, definitely, and the SAS. Just let these guys come together. There we go. Now we can disconnect this. And go back to controlling... Not that, because it's garbage. Back to controlling this guy. Now, from here, I never transferred monoprop, but you know what? I don't think we need it. Let's go ahead and control this guy from here. And then we want to target, let's say, this side of the space station. And I think the sun has just set. The sun has gone down and the moon has come up. And long ago, somebody left with the cup. Yeah, it is now dark. However, we got plenty of battery power. So even though these guys are computer controlled, it's not that big of a deal. I just realized a problem with our plan here. Some of our engines are going to be blocked by some of the fuel ports. This is actually possibly a mission ending problem, because there is no way to set these up without having those engines here. We might need to launch up a separate engine package for these guys. That, yeah, because, like, if you look from behind here, this guy is 4-way symmetrical, and I made this guy 5-way, so we'd have 7 of these, so we'd have 3 orange tanks worth. But now this engine is being blocked by him. This engine's being blocked by him. This engine might make it through, but is probably being blocked by him. This guy can get through, and this guy can get through. So only 2 of the 5 engines can get through at any time, no matter how I set this thing up, probably. Well, let's go ahead and take care of getting these guys together, and I think I might end the episode here. Really? You can't set him as a target? Oh, you're out of power. We got to wait until sunrise. Okay, well, let's wait until sunrise, and I hope that your single solar panel is facing the sun. Your single solar panel is facing the sun. Good. Okay, so now let's control from here. Yeah, I was never expecting to do this much maneuvers with this guy. This guy was designed specifically to land on Minmus and never ever get touched again. But we can handle this here. There we go. Okay, now we're just going to fly by this guy, stop ourselves, dock ourselves onto the back of that thing, and then we're going to have to send up a set of radial engines that can go between this guy and this guy, probably. That will attach on, or I could even bring them up with docking ports and dock them onto the station. Probably not, though. There we go. Turn off RCS and that, and there, they're docked. So now these guys won't wander away from each other. That was all I cared about. And I wasn't even paying attention to the battery. But his solar panel was facing the sun, so we're good with that. Whew. That was far more difficult than it had to be. Okay, RCS off. So, next episode, I am going to launch up a something to attach either here or here that will have engines sneaking through this way so that we can get this guy up to Minmus, because he currently, the way he is, he's not going to be able to thrust well at all. Sadly, I can't put anything ventral. I can't like put an engine here because this has to attach here. So we'll figure it out though. It shouldn't be too hard. And then we'll set up the Minmus base next time. This was as always a lot harder than I thought it would be. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I definitely enjoyed playing it though. I'm HMV and I will, as always, talk at you later.